words are meant to rhyme. Some simply light up time, but all find a home when children make poetry their own. Good evening, everyone. With immense joy and gratitude, I welcome you all to Converse Season 5, our annual online poetry slam for kids. What began as a small and heartfelt endeavor during the confines of the pandemic to keep creativity alive in young minds has now grown into one of our most loved and awaited events in BTB's creative calendar. 5 seasons in, and I feel the magic only is growing stronger. Season after season, we have watched children turn everyday thoughts into powerful poems, feelings into fierce verses, and observations into lyrical wonders. And today, here we are, season 5. Wow, it feels amazing. It's a milestone moment, truly, because it's been 5 seasons of verses, 5 seasons of children finding their voice, 5 seasons of rhymes, reflections, rebellions, and rainbows. Each year, we've been amazed at how deeply and beautifully children feel, observe, and express. And this season, we promise, will be no different. So today, we are joined by 16 young poets from across the country, actually, globe, because we do have some participating from outside of India as well, each with a unique voice, a special story, and a spark in their words. To all the performers today, we are so proud of you for showing up with courage, creativity, and heart. And let me tell you that these 16 finalists have been chosen from 64 submissions that we had received this year for Converse Season 5. So that itself, I feel, is an incredible achievement. So let's have a huge round of applause for these finalists. Now, of course, as you all know, that every Converse, what makes it really special is our eclectic jury panel. They usually bring so much of flavor, so much of learning, and it's no different this time. So, without further ado, it's my absolute honor to introduce two remarkable individuals who will be listening closely, encouraging generously, and offering their insights as a jury panel today. First, we have Arundhati Venkatesh, a best-selling and award-winning author whose books have delighted children across the country, and BTB kids are no different. Trust me, we have a lot of fans within the community. So let me introduce Arundhati Venkatesh. For those who have not yet probably read her books, then you must check them out today. Arundhati Venkatesh is one of India's most loved children's authors. She writes terrifically funny books, which I completely agree with, about terribly serious things like monsters, democracy, mathematics, and science. Wow. She is the author of the best-selling Bukasura and the Pay to Pumpkin series, which is personally my daughter's favorite for ages 6 to 9. Junior Kumbhakarna and I Want a Pet for Children 4 years and above. Her books are listed on Amazon India's 100 children's books to read in a lifetime and have won several awards, including the Comic Con India Best Publication for Children Award and the SCBWI Crystal Kite Award for India, Middle East, and Asia. She has launched her books at the Sharjah Children's Reading Festival, Kala Ghoda Arts Festival in Mumbai, Bukaru in Goa, Kolkata Literary Meet, and the Bangalore Literature Festival. She is represented internationally by the phenomenal agent Sarah Crowe, whose clients include New York Times best-selling authors and Newbery Medal winners. Arundhati Venkatesh, 3 latest releases all happen to be hilarious books for ages 10 plus. Pay to Pumpkin, Freedom Fighter, Ramanujan, From Zero to Infinity, Raman and Chandrasekhar, Lighting Up the Stars. Her stories brim with imagination, heart, and humor, much like the poems that we are about to hear today. So let me get her on the stream. Here's Arundhati. Arundhati, welcome to Converse Season 5.
Thank you. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, our pleasure too. And joining Arundhati in this, literally extravaganza today is P. Vidya, a passionate educator and the head of the English department of Chirik International School in Hyderabad. An educator of language and critical thinking, she brings over a decade of experience across top international schools in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. Her journey with Chirik began in 2011, where she first discovered her deep connection with international curricula and language education, a journey that has now come full circle in her current role. What began as an experimental return to work after a career break for motherhood and caregiving soon evolved into a lifelong passion. She found her true calling in teaching language, drawn to the craft of communication, the power of expression, and the beauty of well chosen words. Today, she leads not just with knowledge, but with heart and purpose. Apart from her leadership role, she mentors young adults, nurtures reading habits through the school's reading program, and actively reflects and shares her learnings through blogging and online content. With her deep understanding of language and her nurturing approach to young voices, we couldn't have asked for a better presence on our panel. So let me get Vidya on the stream along with Arundhati. So here's Vidya. Welcome to conVERSE Season 5, Vidya, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely thrilled to be here.
Great. So I think we are all set. The jury is here. I am here. All your audience are here. And audience, like always, all our events have the most engaged audience member prize. Don't forget that. So keep those comments coming in. Keep sharing the event, liking, reacting, because the most engaged audience member is going to receive an exciting book from Beyond the Box as a gift. So that's exciting enough, right? So let those comments keep pouring in. And now let me start this evening with a mesmerizing musical performance. He is not new to the platform of BTB. He's somebody who has been here before. And again, today, he is going to kickstart this event by setting the tone with a soul-stirring opening musical performance on the Mridangam. So Sriyansh T is here, a student of classical percussion and a true lover of rhythm. And he brings both precision and passion to his art. So let's take a moment to soak in the beats, the cadence, and the energy as poetry and music come together to mark the beginning of our event. So let me get Sriyansh on the stream. And he's right here. Sriyansh, over to you.
Namaskaram everybody. My name is Sriyansh and I've been playing the Mridangam for 3 years under my guru Sri Arangi Srinivas Rao Garu. Today I will be playing in the Adi Talam. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing as always, Sriyansh. Like I said, you're not new to the platform, and I was not expecting any less. And I'm sure even the jury enjoyed your performance. I think it was like the perfect start to the evening. So we are all set and energized now. So thank you, Sriyansh, for gracing the virtual stage today.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah. All right. So that was Sriyansh, and I can see some lovely comments for him. So now we start what we all have been waiting for, the Poetry Slam. And our first finalist for the evening is here, all set. She is none other than the little but not so little in her thoughts and talent, Kavya Vasani. So I'll get her on the stream. Kavya, good evening and
Good
welcome once
evening.
again to Converse, because you've participated in the earlier seasons, and I'm so glad to see the way you've been, constantly trying to work on your craft and express yourself. It's really amazing. So, Kavya, over to you.
Hello everyone. I am Kavya Vasani. I'm 12 years old and today I'm going to perform my poem which is Tales of Gaia. Earth is round, a globe so wide with oceans deep and towering mountains steep. The sky has vivid hues, pink, purple and blue. As clouds drift softly, painting patterns anew. The trees stand tall, with leaves so green, a sight so calm and serene. The rivers run, the waters flow through the hills and valleys far below. The flowers bloom in every shade. In sunlight, they gently parade. Animals are marvelous, all day energetic and vigorous. The buzzing hum of busy bees, chirping birds among the trees. The soil is rich, the seeds will grow. With rain and sun, life starts to show. The farmers work with care and pride to feed the world. They are our guide. The inferno and terrifying fire with drizzling rain like fire, manifest a magnificent earth which we admire. But something has destroyed our admiration, which is terrible pollution, a dark infestation. The sky, once clear, now chokes in despair as smoke and waste poison sea and air. Pick up trash and plant a tree. Keep the oceans clean and free. Turn off the lights when not in use. Walk or bike, no gas to lose. Pollution destroys everything, leading to global warming sting. save the water, the sun, the earth, and the moon, for their worth priceless fortune. Thank you.
Wow, Kavya, like I felt even your poem, like, flowed like a river, and the imagery was so rich. It had that gentle rhythm. And, I particularly loved your transition from the admiration to the action part. I think it was like really seamless, and I think it was quite mature writing for your tender age. So I'm definitely very impressed. But then I could also be biased as a mentor. So I would love to know from the jury. Maybe we can start with you, Arundhati. What did you think of Kavya's poem and her performance? I think you're on mute, Arundhati, if you could unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, Kavya, I totally agree with you. I think they are worth a priceless fortune. And it's so lovely to hear such wise words from someone your age. I love many things about what you just performed. Of course, the expressions that you used, the diction, the confidence with which you recited, your vocabulary, the choice of words. And it's very hard to write in rhyme. So, lovely to see all of that, and the theme, the topic that you picked, so pertinent, so important, and it just really makes that difference to hear you talk about all these important things in such a lovely way. Yeah. What
Absolutely.
else? I loved your expressions, enunciation, the actions that you used. So it was all really good. And keep
Nice.
keep writing, keep reading, and I hope to hear you and read your writing someday.
Absolutely. Wow, those are some wonderful words of appreciation, Kavya. Well done. And I would now love to know from Vidya. Oh, I think she got disconnected. Wait, I'll just get her back. I think she got disconnected. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Vidya.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem. All these tech issues keep happening. Don't worry. Yeah. Yes, Vidya. What did you think of Kavya's performance?
So what was most striking for me was the juxtaposition of what the earth has to offer to us and what we
Right.
are not doing in return. So that failure of promise is what hits me the most, that it offers, I mean, at such a young age you're able to realize what the earth has to offer and how we are not paying back. It fills me with optimism that if you do realize that we are not being proportionate with our action, in terms of what we are receiving, I'm very hopeful that if somebody, like you, who's maybe 13, 14 years old, if you recognize that we are receiving much more than we are paying back, it fills me with optimism to recognize that you realize how we are failing earth, and how she just keeps giving us and we don't give it back. So very, very good job on the idea and on the
Thank
vivid
you so much.
imagery of how we are failing the promise.
Right.
And I hope that we take that as a cue and we do what we should be doing, in return. So yes, that.
Absolutely. And
Thank
yes,
you
Kavya,
so much.
I often say that, I think kids sometimes are wonderful. They give us wonderful reminders. And yes, I hope all the adults also, I know there are a lot of them in the audience. We all know of these things, but when a child comes and I think talks about it with so much of, beauty as well as profoundness, I think it just hits us more. So thank you for that, Kavya, and all the best. And as I always say, that the people who have the performance at the beginning are now relieved, and you can enjoy the rest of the show as your friends come and perform now. So goodbye, Kavya. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.
All right. So Kavya gave a beautiful start to this evening. And I must say that these are the junior kids categories, the first nine finalists. And you'll be amazed at, the thoughts and the use of language and the way they just perceive the world around. So coming up next is finalist number two, Vihana Kothari. And she's now going to take us into a completely different world. So I'm excited for that because it's a genre I enjoy personally. So here's Vihana joining us from outside of India. Like I said, we actually have participants from other countries as well. So yes, Vihana, thank you for joining, and over to you.
Hello,
Vihana, yeah,
everybody. Hmm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all good. No, no
Hello,
issues.
everybody. My name is Vihana Kathari. I'm 11 years old and I go to Discovery Bay International School in Hong Kong. Today, I'm going to share a poem that I have wrote personally called The Library. In shadows deep, where the whispers creep, a haunted library has secrets to keep. Books on the shelves, all dusty and old, where dark stories are yet to be told. The lights flicker, the air feels thin, echoes of laughter where no one's been. We feel the light of the candles shine as the creaky floorboards whine. Away from yourself and everything you've been through, for as we walk, the whispers talk.
So, Vihana, what I really like in this poem is it is crisp, yet it's like so eerie. Like, the way you use the words, sound, the setting, the atmospherics that you created. I think it was like really brilliant, and it does take a lot of maturity in the writing to make it as chilling and hard hitting in those few lines. So, I really enjoyed it, and I would love to know from Vidya this time, maybe first, what did you think of Vihana's poem and her performance?
The contrast was really lovely. The whispers talk, and the I think somewhere she said the whining of the creek. That was really that brings the world of reading alive. You know how some people say that. When you watch something, it doesn't leave much to your imagination, but when you read something, it truly helps you to visualize what it is. So like Anupama said, the magic in the brevity of the ideas that you were talking about, and the beauty in your contrasts is what did the magic for me. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Arundhati?
Yeah, agree with both of you. I think the mood you were able to set throughout and you were able to retain it consistently, which is amazing. And the tone is just right. It just captures what you're trying to do so well. And you actually feel transported when you hear the poem that you recited. And you're painting a vivid picture with the words. At the same time, you're using sounds very effectively. You're engaging all our senses as we hear you.
Right.
So things like the creaky floorboards whining, the whispers, the echoes of laughter. So it really feels that I'm there because you engaged me in multiple ways, my senses. So great effort. Really loved it.
Thank you.
Great, Vihana. Those are some wonderful compliments. And also, audience, let me tell you, for a lot of these kids, it's their first live performance. And I think it takes so much of courage to just do that, because
Yes.
I don't think at that age I was, just all ready and confident to just go and perform. So it's really amazing, kids. I think you're also inspiring us today. So goodbye, Vihana, and thank you so much for your performance. All right. So now, it's amazing how the kids are taking us through different moods, because the next poem is now going to, I think, make us laugh. It's by one of our students who's really witty in real life as well. So Ivan Gupta is all set. He is finalist number 3. I'll get him on the stream. Ivan, are you there?
Hello,
You're
hello,
also.
hello. My name
Yes,
is
yes.
Ivan Gupta and I'm 10 years old and I'm in grade 6 in Sriram Millennium School, Noida. So I wrote a poem, Mr. Magnolia's One Boot, which is inspired by another poem, Mr. Magnolia, which was originally written by Quentin Blake. So here's my poem. Mr. Mr. Magnolia had 10 shirts, 10 pants, and 4 socks, but he had only one boot. Mr. Magnolia had a pond in which there were 2 frogs, 4 fishes, and a big fat newt, but Mr. Magnolia had only one boot. Mr. Magnolia had a shiny gold color car. It could honk, bump, crash, and toot, but Mr. Magnolia had only one boot. He had 2 kids wearing 3 suits each, and they used to watch cartoons on Woot. But Mr. Magnolia had only one boot. Once a thief came into Mr. Magnolia's house. He found a gold chain and 2 gold coins. He took it all as loot, but Mr. Magnolia had only one boot. Mr. Magnolia used to do strength training. He worked on his legs arms and loot. But Mr. Magnolia had only one boot. And as we conclude, we can finally say that Mr. Magnolia had only one boot. Thank you.
Ivan, I mean, when you were writing a poem, I was like, poor Mr. Magnolia. But having said that, I think it was a very delightfully quirky poem, which goes with your personality because, I know you love humor, you're witty. So, and what I personally liked is, I'm a fan of repetition in generally, in poems which have that. I feel it just gives that extra rhythm and, that song like feel. So there was a lot of charm, a lot of rhythm in your poem, and I really enjoyed it. So I would love to know from Arundhati. Arundhati, I know you're so good at quirk and humor yourself. So did you enjoy Ivan's poem?
Yeah, I'm partial to silliness, as you said. So I love the backiness of it, the humor, the lightness that you brought in. As you performed as well, I could see that you were really living it every moment. And the use of the refrain was really nice. You used that really well. Also, it feels like you've been reading poetry, like you said, Quentin Blake, but also maybe Edward Lear, Gorey, Silverstein. So it felt like there were echoes of all of those great poets in what you've done, and the use of words as well. You've got two frogs at the beginning of one line and then newt, so it sort of sounds really perfect when you use the right word. And poetry is all about that. You have to read it aloud, you have to hear how it sounds and then work with it. So all of those things really worked well, and I loved how you recited. Very, very well done.
Yes, ma'am,
Lovely.
thank
Those
you.
I must say, getting these compliments from Arundhati is really kudos. I'm happy for you, Ivan. And yes, I would love to know from Vidya now, what did you think of Ivan's performance?
So I felt very cheated when Anupama stole the word quirky from me. I really
Oh,
wanted to have that in my comment. It really was quirky. I loved the play with numbers, 3, 2, 1, and the
right.
refrain of, the single boot. And for me, apart from humor, there was a sense of mystery. Why is it that Mr. Magnolia is just, a lot of times, as teachers of English literature, we think that we have figured the poet out, right? Like we help the students that, okay, by research of the context or research of the poet, we have taught what you can interpret from it. But there is so much mystery behind these words. Like, why was it that this single boot was such a big pain in the, kind of the wrong place, kind of a situation. So I really loved the mystery, the quirk, and the way you played with numbers. So poetry and mathematics, usually people don't imagine them together, but you did it very well.
Totally agree. Yes.
Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you.
Ivan, I'm really happy for all these compliments that you've got because I know you were also so excited for this performance. Well done, and yeah, you can now enjoy the other performances of your fellow contestants. So thank you. Goodbye. All right. So, Ivan, of course, made us laugh and brought in the quirks. And now, finalist number 4, Avyan, is going to take us on a whimsical ride with, again, a different flavor into his poetry. So, let me get Avyan Parashar on the stream. He's finalist number 4. So, Avyan, you can continue with your. Yes. Oh my God, he's ready with props and all. All
Good
right. Over to
evening.
you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abhyan Parashar, and I'm going to recite a poem about a bear. Hello, who went from his forest unexpected to find a lifelong friend. My poem's name is The Journey. So let's dive in. Once there was a bear. He looked like a square. He lived in a forest and thought he was the best. But one day he got kicked out, so he began to scream and shout. He ran all the way to Rome, where he saw a giant gnome. He threw the gnome and climbed a tree. He smiled and thought, now I'm free. But then came the forest ranger. The bear panicked, sensing danger. Bear, the bear jumped out of the tree. His heart, off the tree he jumped, his heart racing, his blood pumped. He crashed into a man who had a deep tan. Looking at the ranger, the man said, hop in my car, let's get ahead. They zoomed around, dodging tar, speeding wildly in the car. The rangers surrounded them from all sides. Now there was no place left to hide. The ranger aimed to shoot. In fear, the bear began to scoot. Then the man had an idea to go to the ranger station. He said, "When we'll reach, I'll tell you the situation." At the station, the man stated with a grin, "I'll be a ranger. Let's begin." He offered friendship, strong and true. The bear smiled, feeling new. It, they lived together from that day after, in a life filled with joy and laughter. Thank you.
Fantastic, Avyan. Of course, the poem was wild and whimsical, and I had all those twists, and there's humor and there's rhyme. I think it had like everything for me. Actually, it was like a mini movie, honestly. But what I really liked as an audience was your expressions. The little wink, slight wink of the eye, and those that style you had. I think it's amazing to have those nuances, in the body language and in the expressions at your age. You're just 9. It's fantastic. So yes, Vidya, what did you think of Avyan's performance?
So the most striking thing for me was the happily ever after, the unusualness of the happily ever after between a bear and a man. We've never heard of it before. So beautifully brought together by Avyan. And when I read it, when I was reading the poems yesterday, for me the tension in the short, choppy lines, they worked very beautifully, in the sense of, okay, I was also feeling the tension between the bear being, warned and discovered by the man. So beautifully worked in that sense, and a lovely relationship between the two is what the imagery that you use to show the equation between the two is what worked beautifully for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, indeed. Yes, Arundhati.
I think you stole the show with the entry that you made with the prop, first of all. That was completely unique and unusual. So you had our attention right there in the beginning. And the way it flowed as you started reciting, again, it sounded like Lewis Carroll or Owl and the Pussycat or one of those, that tone, the upbeat way in which the rhythm there is to the verses that you've written, and the way you recited it as well with such elan you came and performed, as well as the fact that you're telling a story using your verses, which I think is very challenging to do. When we focus on the form so much, on getting the meter right, on getting the rhyme just right, then sometimes we lose our way and forget and lose track of what we are trying to say. But you haven't done that. You've stuck to the story, and like Vidya said, the happy ending just brought a smile to my face. So you've got this narrative going throughout, and that's wonderful. Great, loved it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great job, Avyan. I'm really happy for you. So goodbye and thank you for entertaining us today.
Bye,
All
ma'am.
right. Bye. So now we move on to a soul stirring performance. And like I said, these kids are not going to just, let us rest. They're just, have put us on this, I would say, a roller coaster of emotions and experiences, because next up is Arna Juneja, who is going to move us. I personally, when I read her poem, I was really, like for a moment, I had just paused. I had to just soak it all in. So I'm sure she's going to have that impact on everybody. So Arna is right here. Good evening, Arna, and over to you.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to juries. Hi, my name is Arna Janeja. I'm 12 years old and I live in Gurgaon. And the poem which I'm about to recite, the title is What Darkness Leaves Behind. There are things in life that break you slow, not like thunder, but like snow, soft at first, then weight too much until the cracks give way to dust. It starts with trust, a fragile thread, tied too tight around the words they said. A friend turns cold, a promise dies, and something fades behind your eyes. Grief walks in without a sound and leaves its footprints all around. Chairs stay empty. Names grow still. Love can haunt more than it heals. Loneliness is not alone. It carves its name in skin and bone. Crowds don't hush the quiet ache. Of smiles you force yourself to fake. Regret is sharp and rarely kind, a voice that loops inside your mind. It plays the could have and it plays the should until you doubt the parts are still good. And dreams, oh, they betray you the best, build you up and then steal your rest. You chase the stars, then find the sky was just a painting ceiling high. The mirror shows a face you know, but underneath the fractures grow. You learn to walk with ghosts beside, to live half dead but never hide. Still, within the ruins, something stays, a flicker left from lighter days. You may be shattered and torn apart, but broken things still hold a heart. Thank you.
Wow, Anna, I think it was so hauntingly beautiful. Your metaphors were so precise and powerful. Like I said even earlier, this is a kind of poem which, like, kind of just settles in your chest, and especially the way you ended it. I just have no more words. I think I'm just amazed again that at your age to come up with something like this. Really big kudos. So, Arundhati, what do you think of Anna's performance?
Anna, frankly, I'm speechless, completely blown away. The reflective nature of what you've written, and throughout it just continues throughout. You made me sit up right at the beginning when you write about trust in such a deep philosophical way, so mature. It really is outstanding. And then you talk about grief, and you say chairs stay empty. It really made me pause and wonder how someone your age is able to even think and express yourself in these ways. It's amazing. Every single thing, loneliness is not alone, and then how you say it carves its name in skin and bone, and then you talk about regret and dreams. So if it had been one or two things, I would have been amazed already, but then you stayed with these themes and write with such honesty and such wisdom that I really am impressed. And the way you talk about the mirror shows your face, and then but underneath the fractures grow again. All of these verses, really strong writing. I'm really amazed. I hope you keep reading, read a lot widely, and continue to write. Amazing, very inspiring.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wonderful words of appreciation. Yes, Vidya, do you agree with Arundhati's thoughts?
See, one of the things the second speaker or the third speaker always dislikes is when the first two speakers take away all the words. That they want to
I
see. So
know. I
mature and reflection is something which I was not able to attribute to, your age. But also, one of the things that strikes me is the painting behind you, that of Buddha, calmness. And I realized that you are not excited about just using your voice or the drama of it, but you understand, you're doing justice to the tone, the somberness of the idea of the poem, and you are just being reflective even when you're presenting it. It is so mature the way you have used personification, the fragility. I felt like a court. In the courtroom, there are those typists who type everything that the lawyers or the judge is asking them to. And I felt very nervous whether I will miss something out in terms of. So, the way you spoke about snow, dust, fragility, grief, you said something about cold, you said something about as mundane as the modal verb could and should, the the contrast between that. I don't know how a 14, 13-year old or whatever age that you are, I don't know how they work this magic up. I am absolutely impressed that this is not just a performance for you, and it looks to me like you are living what you are writing, what you're thinking. And that's what I look for in a young person, the fact that everything is not just a performance but everything is meaningful. So good job, Arna. I'm very, very, although I have no role to play in this, but I'm very proud of you.
No, no,
Thank you.
and I think really, kudos for all the, and you deserve, all the appreciation, all the brilliant comments you've got. And I know you, of course, you are a deep thinker, and often you surprise me. So yeah, this is truly amazing. All your efforts have paid off. So thank you so much, and yeah, I'll see you around soon for another event.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Bye. View. So I think after that intense poem, again, it's probably time to change the flavor a little. So, though I must say that the next poem as well is a bit intense, but in a different way. And again, it really amazed me when I read this coming from such a young child. So, Kavya Nadi is here to recite her poem, and I'm really excited to see her. I love your background. That's so lovely. So, all right, Kavya, over to you. You're on mute, I think. If you could unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good evening, everyone. And my name is Kavya Nadi, and I'm going to fifth grade in Glentree Academy, Whitefield, Bangalore. I'm 9 years old, and I learn the art of Bharatanatyam. So I'm going to recite a poem which has the title Finding. Finding. Turn your mind inside out. Find your dreams and doubts. I don't see how I can find out more. But I've got to get to the core of this problem. It, it is all about finding out who you are inside, finding out how you are inside. So I've got to search myself to find who I am inside, how I am inside. Inside me, there's a lot of stuff, feelings, emotions, all inside me, where no one else can see. So it's up to me to find out who I am, how I am inside. Dreaming, imagining, shows your inner self. Just dream and imagine, and it shows itself. You can dream about anything at all, even if it doesn't make sense at all. You could imagine a horse head a bull, or a feather cart too heavy to pull, a dinosaur living in your house, or a cat which loved a mouse. Imagine wildly, dream wildly, and your inner self will show itself. And then you'll see the real you, the real you, the real you. Thank you.
So, Kavya Nadi, firstly, I must say it's a very thoughtful, creative exploration, I think, of self discovery with, the deep reflection, using repetitions. Again, I say, usually we do this as adults, and to see, a kid sort of think of that as, expressing it in poem. I think it was truly amazing for me. So I'm very impressed and very proud of what you came up with. So Vidya, we'll give you the chance to share your thoughts first this time. Yes, please share. What did you think of Kavya's performance?
I feel silly now. But I'll tell you what, Kavya. As a teacher of language and literature, I train my students to look for intertextual connections. And when your poem focused so much on you, I was reminded of a graphic novel by an Iranian writer, Marjan Satrapi. Have you heard of her? Persepolis. So she's forced to leave Iran to go to Austria because of the very conflicted state of her country, and her father, when he's sending her off at the airport, he repeats that don't ever forget who you are or where you come from. So this focus on identity is such an important thing for us as an individual, as a young person, because it goes on to define who we are at an adult life. And I'm so glad that you kept that focus, especially the end of the poem, which focused so much on you. You used capitalization to show that how that you is so important. I love the clever alliteration in your first line, when you said dream and doubts. So usually I have seen young students struggle with both using alliteration as well as explaining it, but with the ease with which you used it was very beautiful. And I'm most impressed by the focus on identity of who you are at the core, which you have kept at this age. So that's what strikes me most about your writing.
So
Thank you.
beautifully said. Yeah. Arundhati?
Yeah, so a lot of the same. I love that you start with turn your mind inside out, and that's exactly what you're doing with your words. You're looking inward, which for a 9 year old to write such an introspective poem is quite something. And I was really impressed by the musicality of what you've written, which is what good poetry should be like. And I think your training as a Bharatanatyam dancer probably has come into it, because there was this rhythm that is there to what you're writing. When you're using repetition, there's that rhythm which comes in, which is just perfect, especially the beginning when you say, and when you recited it as well, there was that musicality to it, which was just perfect. So that as well. And yeah, the introspection, um, and and you start off with all of these deep thoughts, but then you when you talk about imagining, there's a childlike quality again to it, right, which really makes work in a different way. It's unique because of that. So great, great, and love listening to you recite as well.
Yes, totally. Great job done, Kavya, and all the best. And yes, I hope to, listen to so much more of your work on our platform, because Kavya Nadi has, she's joined BTB recently, but I'm already really, really impressed. It's such a pleasure to, work with you. So, goodbye.
Goodbye, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so now we move on to finalist number 7, Amaira Varugis. She's, been with our platform for many, many years now, and I just love the way she's just been growing as a writer. So I'm really excited for her performance. Let me get her on the stream. She's right here, all set. Hi, Amaira. Over to you.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Uh, Good evening, everyone. My name is Amira. I'm 10 years old, and today I'm going to present my poem called Dark Skin, My Only Sin. This poem was inspired by the book Brown Girl Dreaming, written by Jacqueline Woodson. This book talks about racism and how the black race suffered and still suffers. Here goes the poem. Dark skin, my only sin. I was just 5 then, minding my business, unaware of my color or the way I look. I was black, my skin color, the sickening mark of inequality. Watching the rain pitter patter down my window, I smiled at the girl outside, gazing at her plucking plums from an orchard when it happened. The ring of a gunshot paralyzed the air with a hum of a soul on its way to heaven. I gasped in shock, gazing at the pool of blood splattered across the grass, the only evidence of the past incident. 15 summers later, gazing down at the tiny bundle of curls and ringlets, I walked out of the hospital, embracing the tiny body next to my chest. Stroking her tiny neck, I whispered softly into her ears, "Welcome home, madam." As I set her on the ground, a figure shoved me against the pavement as the strong scent of burnt tobacco started filling the air. His hands reached towards the pistol in his pocket, and the familiar ring of a gunshot cut the air. "No!" I cried, but I was too late, and a splatter of blood had already painted the ground. Where a newborn infant once lay, now rested a tiny arm. Vengeance filled my soul as my arms raked into the neck of the devil himself. For too long I had been abused. For too long I had been used. The piercing screams of the man filled the air as content blossomed in my soul. For I had hurt the ones who had hurt me. Only a fading memory of who I was lay within me. For now, my only aim was to kill the ones who had killed me. Thank you.
Oh my God, Amira, I genuinely, and I'm not exaggerating, I have goosebumps. Uh, it was, I want to remind everybody this is Junior Kidsa, by the way, because it really and though I know all these kids, yet they are managing to amaze me with how fierce, raw, and deeply affecting was your narrative, the imagery, that pain of injustice. Like, I just I don't think, I think I'm like just speechless right now. So I'll start with you, Arundhati, this time. Yeah, what did you think of Amara's performance?
Yeah, so many things to say. Like you said, Anupama. First of all, the title, Dark Skin, My Only Sin. Loved that as well. Just that itself is such a great start. And then it felt deeply personal to me as you were reciting, and I would have wondered why and how you're writing about this. But you said that in your introduction, so that sort of explained it. Though it didn't explain how you're writing so well about something like this based on a book that you've read, because it felt, I mean, I don't know how you can write about all this in such a wonderful way when you haven't experienced clearly gunshots and all of these things that you've written. You haven't experienced, but it doesn't feel like it because you've got the emotion just right. You're writing as if you're vengeful, and it's easy to believe if I just look at the words you've written, and the writing also is so assured. Your writing is really assured, the language, the stylistic flair, and I felt it was really intense throughout again. And it left me wanting to know more with questions, which is exactly what poetry is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to leave you thinking, reflecting, questioning, and wondering, which is what it does. So, yeah, a lot to say, but I think there's only so much time, so I'll let Vidya go for what she
Thank
has
you
to.
so much, ma'am.
Yes, Vidya.
Amira, first of all, I feel very ashamed as an adult that, such a dark experience, and when you could express it so vividly, it means that, we have murked the reality so much that you were able to write about it so vividly. So, that as an adult, I feel that we have failed that generation. But the idea aside, I loved the assertiveness in your tone, how you spoke with so much of clarity and conviction about that issue. Nobody can dispute the sense of betrayal or injustice that the persona that you were talking about was going through. But over and above that, what was most striking for me was the structure of the poem. I teach 16, 17-year olds to explain the effect of enjumbment in poetry, and the way you have used it and the way you used it in your recital of the poem was so effective. I'm so impressed by the way you have used structure in your poem. Is absolutely remarkable. I don't know how an adult can feel both ashamed and proud, but here I am, and thank you for making me feel that conflicting emotion.
Yeah. I think that's the
Thank you
power
so
of poetry, and that's the power of your poetry, Amara. I think you truly have, I genuinely, and I've seen you write so many times on BTB, and I truly feel this is one of your most powerful works. So kudos, keep it up. I think this world really needs more of such voices. Thank you so much, Amara.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, goodbye, Amara. View, I think I like the kids are truly wowing us literally today. So up next is Niveth Govil, our finalist number 8 for today, and he's bringing in his own wisdom too with his poetry. So Niveth is all ready to enthrall us. Over to you, Niveth.
Good evening, respected judges. My name is Nived Goval and I'm delighted to share my poem Run Until the Sand Burns, which is very close to my heart. It revolves around the timeless idea of carpe diem, a reminder to live fully and to embrace the present moments. I hope that my words inspire you to seize your own day. Are you ready to listen to my poem? Let's begin
Yes.
now. Sand flowing to the golden hourglass, smooth and fast, never stopping. drifting away beyond our control. Now the moon is rising with a new beginning, but soon it will be waning and shall be non being. Green and new leaves on a breezy spring morning will wither soon on a chilly autumn evening. Youth is glory, old age is struggle. The more you progress, the closer you are to setting. Look at things half full, not half empty. Live to your fullest without everlasting regrets. So carpe diem as death could be your next step. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed my poem.
Yes, we totally did, Nived. You know what I really liked is there was a certain calmness in the power of the poem. You know, that the way the stanzas were flowing and even the metaphors, there was a lot of, that serene feeling, yet the message was so strong and profound. So great job done with that. Yes, Vidya, what did you think of Nived's performance?
Absolutely, Nived, you were spot on with your the way you built the need to seize the day in that sense. Your the idea of the sand flowing in the hourglass and the withering of the so that those images did infuse anybody with a sense of urgency to just do or do the most and the best with what they have, so that the current moment doesn't slip out of that reach. So that was a very 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 beautiful sense of desperation that you infused. As an adult, I'm inspired to just live the moment and do the most that I can do in a given moment, as opposed to thinking about. So seize the day is a beautiful message that you deliver with that poem. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Arundhati?
Yeah, I think listening to you, I feel we should just listen to young people. That's all that adults, grown-ups need to do. I think you filled me with hope that the next generation, if we leave it to you all, it's all in good hands, because such deep, profound thoughts and written so beautifully in words. uh, you're talking about the moon rising, soon it'll be waning and be nothing, and then it flows so well, one thought to the other, and then you come to youth and old age. And I mean, look at you, how old are you, and you're telling us all of this, and it just seems there's hope, but there's also disbelief, like how can this be? But really lovely. Keep reading, keep writing. Very good, great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Fantastic. I think that was a great debut on BTB Nived, and I'm looking forward to many more from you. Goodbye. All right. So, yes, that was Nived. And now we come to the last performance of the junior kids category, which is by Shubhang Chakrabarti, finalist number 9 of the day. And he is again bringing in a very different element in his poem, which I'm sure you all will enjoy. So, Shubhang, over to you. So good to see you. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, respected jury. Good evening. My name is Shubhang Chakrabarti. I am a 12-year-old from Delhi, and today I will be reciting my poem, One More Try. This poem is about the last, lonely, and painful moments of a now extinct bird whose calls for a non existent mate were never met with a reply. One more try. The rays of the dawn sun crept into the misty air and awoke the forest for the morning. Along with it rose a Kuawi bird, a flame of hope in its heart burning. Its calls echoed throughout the jungle as it scours the woods for a suitable mate. Yet its efforts come to no avail, for such was the cruel game of fate. But it still followed its optimistic motto. Perhaps if I try a bit more, I would succeed. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. As the day moved on, the soft spring breeze turned into a heavy rain,
and the previously dormant predators and parasites became hostile again. The poor little bird tried harder and harder, but alas, its progress had moved no farther. Yet it stuck to its motto. Perhaps if I try a bit more, I would succeed. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. The storm became harsher and wreaked havoc all around. Still, to the bird's dismay, no mate had been found. Its throat throbbed with pain as day turned to night, making every call akin to a fight. Still, it clung to its will and went by its anthem. Perhaps if I try a bit more, I would succeed. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. Despite his unbroken will, his goal would never be achieved. For little did he know, he was the last of his species. His calls would echo throughout the island with no hope of an answer. All his effort was now just a useless banter. But unbeknownst to this, he went by his ironic motto. Perhaps if I try a bit more, I would succeed. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. Just one more try, and I'd surely find my mate. Thank you.
What I when you were narrating a poem, like when you were reciting a poem, Shubhang, I was like, it's such a poignant, beautifully structured, narrative poem. That blends, I think, an ecological tragedy with emotional depth. I mean, I am just again amazed at how you've woven the whole thing. Brilliant. I think we can definitely take a leaf or two from all the performers today. Really kudos. So I would love to know from you, Arundhati, what did you think of Shubhang's performance?
I think it almost feels wrong to speak after this. Uh, just one word, if I have to use, I mean, I have a lot of words, of course, that will come later, but if I have to put it in one, I would say beautiful. Beautifully written, beautifully recited, just outstanding. And it's so hard to write about some things, like climate change, environment, and that's something as adults we grapple with, and you've done it so well. Uh, and it made me feel, which is what the intent is when we write about these themes, right? That we get people, spur them to action with our words. That's exactly what you've done, and it felt like a professional spoken word poetry performance. It was so well written and so well performed, and the refrain that you've used, the felicity with language, and I really would want to hear from you, why you picked this topic, what led you to it, and was there something that inspired you to on what led you here?
Yeah.
Well,
Shubhang, you can
ac-
answer. Yeah.
well, actually, it all began when I saw seen a YouTube video. In that video, it showed a footage about this koayo bird, and it calling out into the forest with no hope of a reply. In the comments of that video, a person had written about its story, and that's what really inspired me.
Wow. That's amazing, watching a video and then a comment triggering a thought, and look at the outcome. And, I think I can tell parents and myself too that sometimes I think the screen time does bring out, great ideas too. Yes, Vidya, what would you have to add to what Arundhati has shared?
So I agree with Arundhati. I was regretting being a jury because that it requires you to be alert and attentive, and one would like to get engrossed and completely immersed with what they are hearing. What I think, Shubhang, is that you are a very sensitive young boy, and I intensely pray that that sensitivity is retained forever in your childhood, in your youth, in your adulthood, because some of the words. I've now lost track of the words that I want to talk about, but there was something which said, flame of hope, unbroken will. I think they communicated an idea of relentless optimism. And as an adult, I think if we had one thing to hold on to, it would be relentless optimism, that no matter how wrong everything around you is going, it is very important to relentlessly believe that if I do my bit, if I just wait with hope, still something beautiful will come around. And the way you delivered it was even more beautiful than the way you wrote it. I really do not have anything else to add to that. I really hope that you remain as sensitive as you sound through what you have written and the way you spoke, Shubhang.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm
ma'am.
very proud of you, Shubhang, and I know you will remain sensitive. I've again, seen you, through the years, and I've interacted so much with you. Really, really, proud of all the BTB kids. Today, I'm feeling like that, proud mother hen. Great, great job. I'm really moved myself now. All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Shubhang. Yeah, goodbye.
Bye, ma'am.
Yeah. So, oh my God, I think it's like I mean, I must say that I'm glad I'm not the jury member and I'm just the anchor, because I'm sure it's such a difficult task for them. And as Vidya mentioned, when you're a jury member, you can't just get lost in a poem like the way I'm experiencing it now. So with that, we come to the end of the junior kids category. So now we have the teens coming up, and we have 5 finalists in the teens category. So before we start with the teens category, as we move from these vibrant voices to the expressive verses of our teens, we just take a very little pause to honor another powerful form of storytelling, which is dancing. Joining us now is Shri Ritika Ravinuthala, whose graceful movements and deep sense of rhythm bring poetry to life without a single word. She's a passionate dancer and a student of classical art, and her performance today is definitely going to be a visual delight for all of us. So she's going to break the flow a little for some entertainment, and then we will be right back continuing with the performances in a couple of minutes. So let me get Ritika on the stream. So, wow, you look lovely and all ready, Ritika. So, over to you. You can start.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ritika. There was a bit of a sound issue, but honestly, that didn't matter to me because you were so energetic, you were so fabulous. My focus was totally on your moves, and I must tell the audience that Ritika also writes well. So, such a multi talented kid, you're truly a brilliant dancer, and everybody knows even I'm a dancer, I'm a dancing enthusiast. So, I would love to shake a leg with you someday as well, for a performance. Thank you for coming today and entertaining us. We really enjoyed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, so I'll get back the jury members as well on the stream before we continue. So, yes, so our jury is back, and Ritika truly, I think she just brought back that physical energy in us because I think, sometimes when we're just watching and listening to something, we tend to go. So, yeah, I wanted to get the audience also energized because remember, we have an award for the most engaged audience member today. So, keep those comments coming in. And now we start with the teens category. So finalist number 10 for today is Shuchika Panjwani. Uh, Again, from across the globe. So I'll get Shuchika on the stream. She's all set here. Hi, Shuchika. Good evening. And over
Hello.
to you.
The evening winds blow across the Indian border, but here, across the Arabian Sea, in Bahrain, the country I'm speaking from, the afternoon sun shines brighter than ever. So, a warm good afternoon, respected jury members, and a warm good afternoon to my fellow competitors. My name is Suchika Panjwani, and I'm 16 years old. Today, I will be presenting before you all a self written poem titled Contentment. This poem is the story of a man who had lost all purpose in his life, but a simple, unknown gesture gave him hope, a reason to believe that he could do better. Contentment. He walked out of the bar with smoke creeping out of his mouth. He looked half drunk, but there was no one to look around. He seemed to be cursing at his lonely, miserable fate. He stumbled a bit, but tried to walk off the numbing aches. He had a tear out of his eye, and his face was pale white. But as he turned the corner, something astonishing caught his blurry sight. At a distance, a few steps away, he saw a young girl dancing under the flickering streetlight. He stood surprised to see that she was dancing with a broom, and while she purified those filthy streets, her face did not allow any gloom. She seemed happy and content and free, with no one to meet her eye. The happiness of the bar cleaner was astonishing for him that night. As he continued to see her moves, he noticed a smile curate on his face. His momentary pale skin no longer looked inhumane. The tears from his eyes evaporated and disappeared. He dropped his cigar and started walking, slightly sober. He walked past the dancing girl with a new emotion in his eyes, and a few years later, he climbed the ladders of success, all because of a simple and content smile. Thank you.
This was really fabulous, Ruchika. You know what? Personally, I mean, of course, the poem was really moving and profound. But for me, like what stood out in the piece was, I think the shift for me was unexpected from that man crumbling, under his own weight to then that witness of joy and motion and how the broom had symbolism. So that I think there was nothing grand in that sense, but it was so I would say in some ways transformative, and I think that was so beautiful. I really loved your poem, and yes, I would love to know from the jury also now, Vidya, what did you think of Shuchika's poetry and her performance?
So I think one of the most relatable ideas which Suchika managed to capture was the absolute relevance of the fact that sometimes when we think that we are doing something grand and we are so taken in by the grandness of it, either of the success or failure of it, that we tend to become oblivious of the in our minds we think that the smaller players, and then we take notice of those smaller players, and we realize that they are playing their role with such beauty, with so much grace, and with so much of dedication and discipline, that you become very inspired to do that. I think in working in a school, as educators, as leaders in educational sectors, you become very, um, I think, a sense of self grandness, that you're doing something huge. And then there are these, the cafeteria people or the IMRs who are doing their jobs so meaningfully, and their job is so significant. I love the fact that you brought the attention back to that. And I'm humbled and grateful that I will carry this idea that no matter how important you feel that the role that one is playing in the larger scale of things, the importance of recognizing that everybody is playing their part beautifully. At your age, to recognize that, Suchika, is a beautiful thing, and I hope that you continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Beautifully said, Vidya. Yes, Arundhati, what do you want to add to what Divya said?
Yeah, I think that was one of the most striking things, because we talk about, all these concepts, and we just throw them around in the grown up world, diversity and class and, privilege and this and that. But here you've just done it so well with your writing. And these are the moments that we actually experience in our own lives, don't we? Where we are going through some turmoil, and then we just catch a glimpse of something, and
Right.
that completely changes our perspective, turns things around, makes us look at everything so differently. And to
So true.
hear a young a girl write, uh, all of that in this poem, which, yeah, and as you traverse the poem, the shifting of the mood, the atmosphere you've created right in the beginning, it's so stark, and then you come to the end and it's completely turned around, which is amazing. And the thought, I think I completely agree with what Vidya was saying. Uh, the writing itself, I want to also talk about in the limited time that I have. One part of it which I really liked was that the rhyme did not feel forced at all. Um, that it did not feel that you're trying to rhyme. You could almost miss it because you actually got the narrative. You're trying to do something, and that is what is significant and stands out. Also felt very relatable, like I was saying earlier. And there are no wasted words. You're sticking to your narrative, and your poetry seems to serve you. You're not trying, you're not making an effort. It seems effortless. It's trying to serve you in what you're doing. So that really stood out.
Wow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Fabulous compliment, Shuchika. Kudos. Totally well deserved. Thank you for this fantastic start to the teens category. I think the bar is just going higher and higher. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, goodbye. So we now move on to finalist number 11 of the evening, Shrikar Chitta. And again, he's bringing in a very different theme, but a very important theme. So Shrikar is right here, dressed for the poem, I must say, which is lovely to see. So over to you, Shrikar.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening to the respected jury and to the audience members and to my fellow contestants. I am Shrikar Chitta from Hyderabad. The title of my poem is We Shall Endure, and the topic of the poem is about the socio-economic and the socio-political scenario of modern day India. And it's currently once the land of golden the golden land for the world, a land which everyone looks up to, is now the land of corruption. India is the land which has given us birth, and it's asked nothing but honesty and loyalty in return. Yet what do we give it? We give it the chains of religious violence, we give it a chains of political parties, and a chains of cultural degradation. Every day, somebody is killed by a mafia member of the Lok Sabha. Every day, every day someone is extorted, and every day an idol is desecrated and the culture is insulted. And this poem's topic is a call to action, a call to better the country. And without any further ado, I would like to start my poem. The officer got his daily pay from a criminal unconvicted. An innocent man got shipped away to a prison unseen and afflicted. 20 lakhs in a box of sweets to your local admissions officer to ensure yourself a seat above those who toiled and struggled. He strides into the temple, shoes on feet, pushing past devotees in a queue. And if you challenge him, you will face defeat. Your local MLA will promptly sue. But alas, our foes are not the lords, not those with distant crowns. They dwell on our very own shores, turning our treasures into frowns. 50 banners rise for change, yet falter along the range. Still, do not lose hope or light. Bharat's spirit shines ever bright. They cannot break, they cannot sway. The ancient heart that lights our way. Our culture and dreams remain, and truth in time shall rise again. Ma'am, I'd like to conclude by four statements. From Balochistan to Assam, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, our country stands tall. Our culture is the oldest in the world and it must never be ignored. And to my fellow Indians, remember your ancestors. We are the country of Shivaraya Maharaj. We are the birthplace of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. We must always strive to uphold their ideal. Bharat Mata ki jai, Jai Hind.
Thank you, Shrikar. I think, what I really liked in your poem and even in your performances, it was just direct, satak, jo bolte. There were no, like, you just came with a very clear thought process and you just, were very honest, I would say, very direct in the way you conveyed what you wanted to convey. It was also powerful. I think it's very important, all the more in today's times, I feel, that we all truly keep country above everything, understanding that what is the enduring soul of our country. So I think it's really nice to see kids your age actually thinking of these things, trying to be aware of what's going on and raising their voices. I think that itself, yeah, it does give us hope for a tomorrow of more aware generation. So I'm really glad for that. So yeah, Arundhati, what did you think of Shrika's poem and performance?
Yeah, so I think even if you hadn't spoken all the words that you said before and after your poem, I think the poem itself conveys how much you care about the issues that you're writing about. So it really comes across that you care so much, and the confidence with which you speak also, I think, was something that really struck me. And the call to action that you have, there's that urgency to it which gets conveyed in your poetry. So I think that again was something that really stayed with me.
Lovely. That's wonderful, Arundhati. Vidya?
Thank you, ma'am.
Something that I would like to say about Shikar's recital and recitation, which I should have said about Suchika also. It's very important to set the context of what you are talking about, which both of you did very, beautifully, where the words that you are talking about are coming from. So, which was very relevant. I'm very ashamed that you, as youngsters, had to, wake up to this reality that you talk about of corrupt, practices, of the irony of the fact that, we have a system, both political and religious, which should be self-serving and serving the cause of the society, but it doesn't. So that failure comes out through your words. I'm very, very happy that, you are so accepting, owning, and aware of your identity, and you want to use it constructively. So it is very promising, and it makes me feel very hopeful as an adult when you speak with so much conviction. So suddenly from a very from a poetic imagination to talking about real issues in life, and to see a
Yeah.
youngster speaking like that makes us feel that you're not just talking about poetry or self-expression, but you're also talking about action, which is very, very important. So good job, Shrikar, on that.
Thank you, ma'am, for the insights and feedback, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you for to the audience, to all the inspiring, to all the comments which are quite motivating to me. With that, Jai Shri Ram, ma'am. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Shrikar. Thank you. So, yeah. So now we move on to finalist number 12 for the evening, Jeet Nagada. Jeet is ready. I'll get him on the stream. So Jeet, yes. Oh my God, I like you're ready with your cap, and like I like that. What is really nice to know is how the kids are also dressed according to the vibe of your poetry. I really like that. So over to you, Jeet. We are waiting for your performance. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Anubhava ma'am and respected Julie. My name is Jeet Nagda. I'm 13 years old, and today I'll be reciting my poem, A Spark Within. So, I've always envisioned my poem I've always wanted to write about this, and I always wanted to be a great tennis player, and I wanted to be the pride of my country. I wanted to inspire many kids. So, this inspired me to write this poem. So, let's begin with the poem. A spark burns within my soul. I dream to achieve my goal. I'm longing to be a winner. Soon I'll be far from a beginner. Only the unyielding can stay. Alone the steadfast can slay. My purpose is crystal clear. I laugh in the name of doubt and fear. I will conquer, I will ace in this great competitive race. Nothing can come in the way of my progress. It's an unrelenting, determined process. This solely is my vision. I reflect on my choices and decision. I'll work hard through life's every strife. My future's calling, my passion for life. Thank you.
Wonderful, Jeet. I felt your poem was just like the message you were trying to give. I really, I'm a fan of very clean, clear, writing. So I think that was there. It was so confident, determined. There was a steady rhythm, so it really worked, I would say, very well for me. So, yes, Vidya, what did you think of Jeet's poem?
So something I picked up from Arundhati's comment to somebody earlier, the wasted words, the concept. In fact, in all the poems that I have heard so far, I've not heard any wasted words. That's something annoying as a teacher when you come across words which don't serve any purpose. But all of you have kept that focus. And what I like about Jeet's poetry matches with his persona. It's very clear that he's identifying with the role that he has charted for himself. The bat, the tennis racket in his background, the cap, and everything speaks of his clear agenda. He wants to become a tennis star. And I also like the word slay, which is a very teen, the Gen Z, if I can use
Yes.
that expression. Expression to kind of kill and conquer the future. So very well expressed about something which is your aspiration, and how you are saying that I'm keeping all the possible um, I don't know, apprehensions and whatever aside, and I will just go, achieving what I can. So all your words, all your persona points in that direction, and more than being impressed by your poetry, I want to wish that if that's what you want to wish to achieve, best wishes, Ajit, and hope you win everything that you want to win.
Thank you
Lovely.
so much. Thank you so much. So
Lovely,
thank you,
lovely.
Pama ma'am, and the
Yeah.
respect for me.
Yeah.
And
So, Arundhati, yeah. So,
Yeah.
we'll have Arundhati's comments and then you can leave Jeet. Yes.
I think everything about you and your poetry just screams attitude. Uh, just there, throughout. Uh,
Right.
and I wish I had, your attitude. I laugh in the name of doubt and fear. I wish I could say that with even 10% of conviction that you do. I really wish. It feels like you're this go-getter. At the same time, when I read your verses, the worry that I would have as a concerned adult would be, you're saying all this, what will you do when, life will throw challenges, there will be struggles, you will encounter failure, and then what? But I read what you've written, that you will work hard through life's every strife. So it seems that, even when all of those things happen, which can make us get cowed down, I think you will just keep working hard and going for your aims, and you will retain that spark. You will not let failure deter you. You are that clear thinking, hard-working chap, and I think you'll remain that way.
thank you so much.
So good luck.
Absolutely. I completely agree. So, thank you, Jeet. And it was really wonderful having you here today. Goodbye.
Thank you, Anupama ma'am, and thank you, Judy, and thank you everyone else for your support. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye. Well, so now we move on to finalist number 13. Prisha Ambi. So Prisha Ambi is, such a known name on the BTB platform. She's, I would say, she is, grown along with BTB because she's been there from day one of, when we started this platform many, many years ago. And she's just so beautifully, I think, grown as a writer and the way she thinks. So here she is again, ready to enthrall us with a very different theme this time. But I really love what you chose. So, yes, Prisha, excited for your performance, and over to
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Today I will be reciting my poem, Beneath the Veils of Ruin. There lies a land of timeless grace, where echoes transcend through every space, of ancient kings and dreams that gleam. Its essence flows like a golden stream, a place tucked in the heart of our southern land. Majestic idols, battered yet divine, still stand. Towering grand statues fill me with awe and wonder, where greedy outsiders once chose to plunder. A city filled to the brim, without which India seems a bit dim. Intricate carvings await at every turn, with monuments where curiosities grow and yearn. A chariot still anticipates nearby, while pillared notes once touched the sky. These marvels fill me with so much pride, though there is no melody and no stride. The royal enclosure where silence seeks, its ancient walls steeped in history's streak. In each stone, a story ignites of lost grandeur, of former heights. Markets still ringing with a lively zest, with flowing mystical mantras and poetry at its best, adding to the city's color and vibrancy, sparking in me so many wild conspiracies. A river ushers softly by, with water so holy none can deny. It nourishes the land, shapes the city's fate, a lifeline for the people, both early and late. Reminiscing lives of unsung heroes carved in the breeze that gently curved, of birds that glide above the stone, in every crack a soul is shown. A precious gem seemingly lost long ago, with more stories than was shown. Its whispers weave through bustling air, secrets of the past, hidden with care. Amidst shattered walls, the sounds stay. Those endless murmurs guide my way. In the silence, Humpy's spirit, like a pulse, beats strong. In me, in you, and in every heartbeat. I just walked you around Hampi, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the majestic capital of the Vijayanagara Empire. Last year, I visited Hampi and I felt as if it was all a lie or chimerical. Despite being enthralled by its abundance, I was depressed to witness the ruins. I couldn't get the image out of my head. My mother urged that I write about Hampi because of how deeply it had impacted me. The king's palace, Darbar rooms, stepping tank, Mahanavami Dibba, Queen's Bath, and the other structures were all located within the royal enclosure. Visitors are not allowed to touch the musical pillars of the Vithala temple, which used to create a distinct musical note when tapped. Thank you.
Prisha, I've visited Hampi twice for, like, long, like, trips, and I couldn't have. I think even I couldn't have written a poem like this. After a visit to the place, like, to take this theme and the way you, wrote your poem, which was like so rich in imagery, in rhythm, in reverence. It was really lyrical, and that contrast of the grandeur and the ruin and that all that history. Oh my god, like, I'm blown away, to be very honest. And yes, I would love to know from Arundhati, what do you think? Arundhati, I'm assuming because you're from Bangalore, you do have, like, I'm sure you must have visited. So, yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think of Prisha's poetry and her
So,
performance?
Prisha, your poetry really took me back to my childhood when I first visited Hampi, and it felt like I was there again. Though when I went, we could touch those musical pillars, so it was news to me that now you can't. So personally, I am excited by the fact that you chose to write about something that had personally impacted you. Because we always say one of the golden rules is write what you know. Though of course, all the participants here have completely turned that upside down by writing about something they've seen online. So I am rethinking that rule. But personally, I am very excited that you chose to write about something which is so close to you, which impacted you, and that really comes across in your writing. Lines like, "In each stone a story ignites of lost grandeur, former heights," or "The river as a lifeline." You say it nourishes the land, it's a lifeline for the people. So all of that also really stayed with me. Very evocative writing. As I said, it really took me back to a time when I had visited Hampi. So greatly enjoyed it.
Wonderful, Prisha. Yes, Vidya, what did you think of Prisha's performance?
See, first of all, I think it was a very welcome break because Prisha brought in that theme of history.
Yes.
How she spoke about bringing the through the architecture of the place, through vivid imagery of the place, to bring the history alive. And once again, I do keep going back to my life as a teacher. But one of the things that is most heartwarming for a teacher is to know when a student or when a young person visits a place, they allow it to affect them, and affect them as much to come back and sit and think and write about it, and probably look at it again and say that I want it to be presented. So that kind of a sincerity to reflective thought and to reflective experiences is something which is most heartwarming for me, Prisha. And Hampi as a place is something which nobody can visit and not feel the way you feel. Some of the songs that I listen to, which no possible connection to Hampi, but they do take me back to that atmosphere which I have seen in it. So very, very beautifully created that atmosphere. That sense of history was beautifully sustained, and it was a longish piece that you have written, slightly longer than a number of poems that we heard. And to sustain that sense of history, that sense of
Right.
uh, uh, mystery, if I can use that word, the experience that you had with the place, and the lines that Arundhati pointed out, I something that really stayed with me was how you used early and late to to show how it affects all kinds of um, people who visited. Beautifully recreated that experience for me. I just hope that you treat all your experiences as
Love.
sensitively and as sensibly that you do.
Fantastic comments there for you, Prisha. Kudos, and thanks for another fantastic performance on BTB platform. Goodbye. Wow, I'm just thoroughly enjoying this. And now it's time for finalist number 14, Sanvi P, who is again going to take us on a very different plane here. So Sanvi is all set. I'm getting her on the stream. Good evening, Sanvi. And yeah, over to you.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sanvi from Bangalore. I can't express in words how much I'm thrilled to perform on this platform again. Thank you so much, Anupama ma'am, for your guidance. My poem, Beyond the Realms, inspired by a true story, is an attempt to showcase the exquisite relationship between humans and their most trusted companions. With no further ado, I shall begin. Beyond the Realms. The shine in their eyes was like no other. The little girl was 8 and the boy was 9. I was their new brother, furry, four limbed, and canine. With each passing day, their love for me grew. So did mine. They told me, I love you. My language was barks and whines. They showered me with kisses and cuddles and built me pillow forts. We jumped in the rain and splashed in puddles, commenced each day with a new sport. How enchanting it was, running alongside them in the lush fields filled with dandelion. We enthralled in our game, chasing the sun as it sunk into the horizon. They were my oxygen, my world. My happy place was in their arms, curled. I even had a friend across the street, a timid hazel Labrador, whom I crossed the road to meet outside his ebony door. One spring noon, on my play date, chasing butterflies while flowers bloomed, the school bus halted outside the gate. Flooding with excitement, I zoomed. A horn blared and wheels screeched. My body rammed the ground. My sister's embrace was out of reach. They froze, petrified, devoid of sound. My golden fur was stained red, sprawled on the ground, my consciousness fading, helplessly watching as their eyes brimmed with dread. Vision clouded, heart seized, and I stopped breathing. I see them now from my earthy bed, mourning and punishing themselves. I wish they could comprehend what I said. My love for you is beyond the realms. Thank you.
Oh my God, Sanvi, this was so heartbreaking. I mean, like, I mean, I know that was probably even how you felt while writing. Tender, vivid, and very gutting, obviously. I think the way you shifted from that initial playful innocence to then the tragedy, it was truly masterfully done as a writer. I think it's definitely not easy, to just jump from a different, mood to that. So, yeah, I would love to know from Vidya this time. First, maybe, like, what did you think of Sanvi's performance?
So one of the things that's most remarkable about the themes of the poems that we are listening is nothing is repetitive and everything is very novel in its idea. I don't think, from uh, the disillusionment of politics to beauty of Humpy, I would suddenly land in the love exchange between a human and a feline. I'm not a very dog person, but I have a lot of people in my life who have that relationship, and you so beautifully created that, and such beauty in the tragedy that the pain that you created. um, um, I don't know. I'm pretty speechless by both the tragedy of the experience as well as the uh, beauty of it. And I don't know why pain and tragedy have to be so beautiful. I'm just going to leave Arundhati to take it from there.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Yes,
so,
Arundhati. Yeah.
so when you started, what really struck me was that you've written from the point of view of a four-legged creature, and you've got that so right. The perspective, and you're talking about the two human children as your brother and sister, and you stay with that. You've not faltered there, because it's easy to lose track when you're doing that. And then it would have just been that, but what have you done with it? You've gone from that kind of tone to talk about something as profound as death, at the same time not making it sound hopeless, not causing any distress in the reader, because these are the challenges we all face as writers. How do we talk about something like that and yet leave the reader on a note of hope? And you've just done that perfectly. And it sort of could have got monotonous if you hadn't done that in a different way. It wouldn't have worked, but you sort of broke the monotony. You never got there, actually. And felt really moved listening to the whole thing, because again, you've used the first person to write, which is, I think, the perfect choice for this poem. Maybe it was an instinctive choice, I'm guessing, but it is perfect. Yeah, so heartwarming, really challenging to get it right, but you've managed it, you've done it.
Yeah. Fantastic, Sanvi. And I love how you always experiment with different themes, different styles, because again, I've been reading your work and I'm truly proud of that. So kudos and keep writing. And yeah, goodbye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye bye.
Bye. Okay, so this is the penultimate performance before we go to the final performance. So, finalist number 15, Sunandini is here to again bring in a fresh theme and a different perspective, just like Vidya was mentioning, how nothing is repetitive, and that's the, talent of BTP kids. Yay, we all rock, right? All right, so Sunandini, over to you. I'm really looking forward to this poem because the theme is and the voice of this poem is like something I personally really enjoy. So yeah, over to you.
Okay, so a very good evening to everyone present here today. So I'm Sunandini. As some of you may know, I'm from Kolkata. So a little bit of a disclaimer: I've not been in the best of health recently. I had a fever a few days ago, so forgive me if my voice is a little bit hoarse. So today I'm going to be performing my poem Megara's Revenge. So, a little bit of background. This poem is based on the story of Megara, who was the wife of the famous hero Heracles, otherwise popularly known as Hercules, from Greek mythology. So, it's addressed as an epistle of sorts from Megara to her husband, like the famous epics of ancient Greek literature. Megara speaks from the underworld after she has died. I think it has modern relevance because it's about a woman who has been oppressed, a woman who responded with great anger to the violence that she faced. Her story has been pushed back to the very periphery of Greek mythology. She was so much more than just the wife of a hero. Her story lurks in the shadows, just waiting to be seen, just waiting to be heard. So let's begin. Megara's Revenge. You were the sun, the center of it all. I was a mere star, tiny and small. Arrogant, you strolled into father's hall. I remember how you looked, rugged and tall. I wanted children, to Hera I did pray. I wanted to get married, but not this way. Being a woman, I didn't have a say. My father's wish, I had to obey. Of course, father did not understand. You agreed to kill the minions for my hand. You drove them all out of our land. Then your rightful wife you did demand. I, Megara, was forced to wed. Heracles, a good man, or so they said. If only I'd known what lay ahead, how me and my children would end up dead. I didn't know that. I had to wait and see. I'm sure you loved our children and me. You were a good father. You tried to be. We lived for some time, happily. It was a normal dinner, a normal night, with you telling stories of your might. I never imagined the horrific sight that I would see that fateful night. Maybe it was anger, maybe it was the wine. Something I said, some words of mine. Maybe a god's hand, something divine, driving you to the edge. It was their design. Merciless, you went in for the kill. Our children died, their blood did spill. You threw me in the fire to burn and grill. After the slaughter, did you have your fill? Of murder, traitor, slayer of your wife, killer of your family, taker of my life. You made a choice as you picked up the knife and brought upon yourself lifelong strife. I cursed you as I died many years ago that everyone you loved would soon go into death's embrace. Now you know it was I, Megara, who cursed you so. Thank you. I think you're mute, Anupama ma'am.
I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that. So I was saying, Sunandini, I'm personally a fan of flipping the lens. Like, so your poem also, I loved how it masterfully flips the lens because you've given the agency to the woman, which is often sidelined, as we all know, in legends. And I loved that rawness of pain and, laced with fury. It was truly brilliant. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to go on, and I'll go to Arundhati to ask her what she felt about the poem and the performance.
Okay, this time it's my turn to say you stole the word that I was planning to use, which is
Oh my
brilliant.
God.
That was just brilliant, very powerful. The choice of topic, as you said, so relevant, and great choice of topic, but also equally well executed, I would say. As poetry, it felt flawless. When you recite, the way you recited as well, it just flowed. You said, something I said, some words of mine, maybe a God's hand, something divine. So those verses, just there's that flow to it, and it's the musicality that you have. You recited it also equally beautifully, and it felt like Megara is speaking. It's like you're telling the story, the narrative, the emotion is coming through. So all of that is working together: the story, the emotion, and the sound of the poetry that you've written. So perfect.
Yes, Vidya.
So the blood, gore, violence, and all of that leading to empowerment. You are talking about an agentic woman, and if you heard of a Scottish woman poet called Carol Ann Duffy, that's who I was reminded of when I was reading your poem yesterday, and I was listening to you today. So evoking a mythological figure to to put forward a feminist agenda, and in a very non-cliche manner, very maturely dealt. And like Arundhati said, for something that she was commenting on earlier on in the evening, the rhyme was not at all out of compulsion. It was not at all out of the need to rhyme, but it was very, very well executed. And the bitterness was so proportionate to empowerment, that was the most striking quality for me in your writing. And I thought that you were owning the words, which again is both impressive and unsettling. Why would a 16-year-old be so convinced about that kind
I
of a
get
thing?
that. True, true, true. So I think those were some amazing comments, Nandini. And as always, you do always wow us with
Yes.
your
Thank
words.
you so much.
Thank you. It was
Uh,
a pleasure having you here. Yeah,
yeah,
bye.
I just want to say, like, I do read Carol Ann Duffy. I have read one of her works
Oh,
of poetry. It's called The World's
very
Wife,
good.
but I really like that. So thank you all
Wonderful.
for your kind comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunandini. That's fantastic. And I think, yes, now we come to the end of the evening with our final performance, which is definitely last, but I know it's not the least. It's a fabulous poem by Shranya. So here's bringing finalist number 16, Shranya Goyal, on the stream. Oh my God, you've created all those, effects. I'm like totally, ready for your performance. Shranya, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tranya, and I stay in Mohali, Punjab. So my poem is about all those people, who strive to be perfect to meet other standards. And anyways, every story has a villain. Sometimes that villain is just the last one left standing after the truth's been buried. This poem is what happens when love turns to blame, and the one who stayed is the one who's blamed. This is from a personal experience. So heads I win, tails you lose. You needed a devil to damn with your voice. Honey, you've just made a terrible choice. You wanted a villain. I'll wear it like a crown. You carved me with your filth, then dragged me down. You wanted someone to hate. Let me be the one who stood by you till you had me shun. The one who celebrated your victories. Strange, strange how I ignored my heart when all it asked was to cease. I bore your chaos, drank down your sins, lost every war just so you thought you'd win. I shouldered your storm, smiled through the ache. But remember, villains are built in the ruins you make. You marked me cruel with deceit on your hands. I was cornered as you laughed from the stands. I bled for a place you refused to present. But villains are born where loyalties end. You fed them a tale where I played the beast, but forgot the parts where I starved for your feast. Until the dark but clear wave of reality hit home, did I realize I was just a villain in the tale you tried to hone. I showed the world your ugly truth, for I saw you for the knife you held. But you twisted my truth into quiet betrayings and left my heart to be bled. You needed a scapegoat to mark your stains, to frame me in blood and poison, but no, I remember your voice, your name. You can lie to the world with a hollow embrace. But hell has a mirror and it knows your face. I am the silence that haunts your dreams, the ghost behind those silent screams. You wanted a monster? Then that's what you get. I was your salvation. You made me regret. Oh, don't hide behind the curtains. Come out and play. I'll show you what it takes to do things my way.
I was a hated nest you left to be nurtured. And I pity you. I pity you for being someone who can never be cured. So tell them I'm wicked. Tell them I lied. Say I'm the reason the good in you died. But when shadows feast on the lies you begot, I'll haunt the truth, you'll still be forgot. So know in the silence when your stories rot, I was the villain, but you were not. Thank you.
Oh my God, Shania, I think you thundered with that performance. I must say, what a finale to a brilliant evening. The way you claim that role of the villain, right? Like, and I think it was intense and gripping and really, I think I'm just out of words. So, Vidya, what did you think of Shrania's performance?
So I'll read out what I wrote yesterday when I was reading her poem. I like the idea of the villain crying foul about being scapegoated, and it was very interesting of a teenager, to have thought about it. But when I see you perform today, I realize that you take your poetry very seriously. I mean, the atmosphere that you have, tried to create with that, and I don't know whether that's your intention or not, but what I sensed from the beginning of your poem was how we are all looking for villains, somebody to blame to, and that's the villain in your poetry, is that if you are looking for that scapegoat, okay, use me, but this is the reality kind of a thing. For me, that's very, very striking for a teenager to be that reflective of a reality. So good job, and go ahead taking your words and your thoughts so seriously.
Fantastic. Wow, Shrania. Okay, yes, Arundhati?
I must say, I'm totally wowed. And like Vidya said, when I read your words, I was wowed even then. But your performance today, it took it to another, level totally. So the idea itself that so when I read the verses, I was wondering, why is this young child writing about something like this? And, what could have driven you to feel this way? And how are you writing with such depth about this? And those were the thoughts that I had, because I was so deeply affected by what I was reading. That was the impact that it had. And then when you performed it today with such verve, it felt totally like a theatrical performance. It felt like I was seeing something sitting, in a place like Rangashankara or Jagrati. It genuinely felt like that, dramatic, and it went so well with the words. It didn't feel overdone or out of place at all. So I really am wowed, I must say. And you've made our jobs really hard. I think Vidya and I are going to struggle. It's going to be impossible now. I
I'm
really
like I said, I'm so glad I don't have to do that today. But we have, Vidya and Arundhati to, of course, do it. But fantastic, Shania. I like how your mom immediately came to turn on the lights and change the vibe from, that villainous sort of a thing to now. But amazing, Shania. And, I must say, your growth even as a performer was visible, because again I've been seeing you for years, and oh my God, today too you
Yes.
took me by surprise. I like interact with you every week, and I was like, okay, this is like Shranya just coming out roaring. I'm so glad. So thank you, Shranya, for that fabulous performance.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all
Okay,
those comments. Thank you so much. Bye, ma'am.
bye. And with that, we come to a end of a fantastic evening. I know we have overshot the time, but yeah, I mean, sometimes in events like this, we of course, want to share our feedback properly with the kids. I'm glad the audience stuck through, and there have been so many comments. So all the parents of the kids, please do show them the comments later. It'll be really encouraging for them. But yes, before we leave, once again, a big thank you, Arundhati and Vidya, for your absolutely insightful, enriching, and encouraging comments today. I had such a good time with you both. So before we log off, just a quick, line from each of you about your experience or anything else you want to share on the BTB platform before we say goodbye to the audience. So Arundhati, maybe we can start with you.
I think I'm just totally impressed. Great job, Anupama, the work that you're doing with these kids, I must say. And I'm really thoroughly impressed, inspired, and moved. There was absolutely no scope to get bored. There was no monotony. Every performance, every poem was so different from the other. and each one was so good. So I hope all the participants that we heard today and those who are probably had written as well, they know
Right.
that it is not like one person has one and the other hasn't.
Right. Absolutely.
You have all done an equally stupendous job. And like I said, it really is going to be very hard to pick. Even if it is many winners, it's still going to be hard for us because each one was so
Right.
good. So
Absolutely.
please remember that and keep reading, keep writing. I think more than anything, it just fills me with gratitude and hope that the next generation, it feels like the world is in right hands. Though we made such a mess as
Yes.
adults, we are handing over such a mess to you, but it feels like you guys are the best.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for those kind words, Arundhati. And yes, Vidya.
I'm a very restless person in terms of physical energy. I find it very difficult to sit in one place for a long time in spite of being a teacher.
Like
And
me.
evaluations always excite me in the beginning, and then towards the end of it, I'm like, okay, ye kab khatam hoga. But this didn't feel like it, and kudos to the earnestness and meaningfulness in the performances, and the theme. I'm pretty sure it's not intentional. You can't put guns to people's head and say write variety of poems. It is it is what they write is what they write, but how beautifully it has produced a range of ideas comes
Right.
with earnestness and sincerity. And one of the things as an adult that I very very I hold very precious and very meaningful is earnestness in what you think and what you write. Language can come easy, but your thought is where is what needs to be in place. And I'm absolutely impressed by the way these people are listening to what they want to talk about and not doing it out of compulsion. I think I have set a world record of my lifetime of sitting in one place for 2+ hours without
Yay.
feeling the need to move. So kudos for
You've
your
got
role in it. And thank you for this. And
thank
I
you
don't
so
envy my position and Arundhati's at all in judging it. We, of course, we would love to be at
I'm
the
sure.
receiving end of it, but I don't envy it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So yes, thank you to the audience. You all have been lovely. So we'll, of course, be announcing the customary results tomorrow. But then, honestly, like I always say, this event is about celebrating the young voices. So a big kudos to all the 16 finalists who performed today. I'm also highly inspired, though you all are my students, but I always look at it as a co-learning experience. So once again, and yes, we'll also be announcing the most engaged audience member very soon. It's going to be a tough job because I'm told there are a lot of comments, hundreds of comments to choose from. So goodbye, good night, and I'll see you all around soon for another event on BTB. Till then, keep unboxing the joy of writing. Bye.